Hey everyone, Zach here, and welcome to the 45th lesson of this RTS tutorial series. In this video, we will complete what happens at the end of the harvest prior to units bringing resources back to buildings. In addition, there were some errors pointed out to me from section 6 that we will resolve, and a bug that I didn't even notice related to construction that we will resolve. These fixes will be in the first part of the video. The main part of the video will be after that, and I have put links in the description to the timestamps for each fix and for the main part of the video. That said, fire up your editor and let's get started.
So the first thing that I skipped in section 6 was adding in our check for the number of units in a car. So if I hit play and I spawn a vehicle in, and I spawn 5 units, let's move all 5 of these units, I can put them all into the car. So that's a slight problem. We need to fix that, and that's fairly simple resolving that. Open up your ground vehicle master, and right here, actually, so this is on our event begin overlap, right on this branch, we actually have one step we need to add in. We need to add in an and this and condition is going to include our check for the number of passengers we have. So we're going to check the length of our current passengers. So if we go into passenger details, we have current passengers. We want to get the length of this, so the number of elements in this array. And we want to know if this length is less than, and I do mean less than, our max passengers. So let's find our vehicle information, or variables. We have our max passengers. And we're going to check if this length is less than, not less than or equal to, purely less than our max passengers. If the length of our current passengers, so the number of our current passengers is less than, then we can add another passenger in. However, when we do this, we're going to run into another problem. So I'm going to show you that is. Spawn in our vehicle, spawn in again 5 passengers. This one right here, if it's the last one to the vehicle, will look like it's selected, but we can't move it. There we go, it doesn't get into the vehicle, so we solved one problem. However, it still looks like it's selected, and we can't do anything with it. So, the fix to this problem is in our player controller, and we might want to consider actually doing this later on for our enter building as well, because when we set a limit to the number of people that can be in a building, we're going to run into the same issue there. But we'll save that for when we get to enter building. So let's go down to our blueprints. In our blueprints, to our player controller. And what we're going to do is we are going to get rid of these functions. We're actually going to get rid of target unit off of that because we don't need it anymore. We're going to get rid of this breakpoint from target unit and just pass target unit into passenger. And we're going to get rid of all of this as well. All right. I'm going to take that, and actually we're just going to delete it. We don't need it. What we are going to do, also we're going to delete the selected units. What we are going to do is iterate a loop based on the current passengers. So target vehicle stores our current passengers. I'm going to put a reroute here. Just drag off this reroute, and I'm going to search for current passengers. There it is. Put another reroute in there so I can move this along nicely. And I'm just going to plug that into there. So now we are checking our current passengers. What we want to do is we want to know if current passengers have any elements that are the same as our selected units. And then we want to remove that unit. Now we aren't changing current passengers, we're changing selected units. So since we're not changing the array we're iterating through, we're just changing another array, it's okay to do this on the loop body. So what's going to happen, I'll take the first passenger, check. Is this in my list of selected units? If so, delete it. Goes back. Second passenger. Is my second passenger in my list of current units? If so, delete it. Then it goes to the third. Is my third in the list of current passengers? No. Or in my list of selected units? No. Then do nothing. Go back here. Fourth. Is my fourth in my selected list? Yes. Delete it. So the way we do this is we're going to drag off a loop body. we're going to have a branch. And in our branch, we want to know, is this array element in our selected passenger? So let's go to our unit control, or selected units, not selected passengers, selected units, and we're going to search for a node called contains item. And we want to know, does it contain our array element? So does the particular unit we're iterating this loop, is this in our selected units? Just going to put a reroute in there so it's a little bit nicer and neater. Plug that Boolean response into that bool pin there for the condition. All right, if this is true, then we want to take our selected units, so Control W, and we want to remove a particular item. So we're going to go into this array, and we're going to go to remove, and it's not index this time, it is item. Plug that into there. And the item we're removing is this array element. So we're just going to drag off of here and plug that into there. Now I'm going to collapse this to a function in a second, but first let's test this out. So we spawn in a vehicle, spawn in 5 units, and that last far pink right one should remain outside. There we go, and we can send it other places. Alright, so that works. Let's take everything here, including that reroute node, and collapse this down to function. And I forgot to name that function before moving it, so let me just go over here and rename this to remove passengers from selected. And let's put this under, I think it's unit commands where we have the other one, or not. Unit control. We'll put this under unit control. There we go. And let's go in here and let's just clean this up because, yeah, it's a little bit messy. Put another reroute in here. There we go. And lastly, off this, we're going to do return. All right. Now, the next issue I want to fix, and this is one raised by FarEast. If we start a game and we put a factory in and spawn another unit, we can send this unit to the factory by clicking anywhere along these walls here. But if we're at this angle and we select a unit, it won't move. Now, what's happening is it's setting the target building. It knows, hey, I should be going to this thing. But what we're really clicking on is the roof, an area where the AI navigation cannot get to. So the AI is going, nope, I can't go there. I'm not going to move. So this is a relatively easy fix. Let's go back into our player controller. We don't need this. And actually, let's close a lot of this out. What we do need is we need to create a new move to macro. And what this move to macro will do is it'll be unique for buildings. Now, we're just going to unpin this. We're going to delete this move to macro. And then we're going to go into our unit commands, find our move to, and we're just going to duplicate it for now because it's pretty much the same. This will be move to building macro. We can't name it move to building because the custom event we're using is named move to building. So you can see I already have the code in here we need. So what you want to do is you want to get your building. I'm just going to redo this for you guys. Sorry, I didn't realize that was still in there. So if we go into our construction, we have building. And then we want to get the box around the building, that collision box that they can enter, which we've named entry point. And we want to get the location of this. And we're just going to drag off of this, and we are going to search for its world location. So get world location. Delete the original target location. Plug that in. Compile. Go back here. Drag the new move to building in. Plug that into there. Compile again, and hit play. Spawn in a factory. Change the camera angle so we're above it. And now the unit will move into it. So that resolves that issue. So FarEast also pointed out another bug to me. And that one was one I didn't even notice myself. So we go into our game. And the order on this one to see the bug matters. We're going to spawn the barracks in first. And we're spawning in first because the lower amount of resources it reduces. So notice that we're at 1.3 now from 1.5 and 1.1. I can't remember what the starting was there. But the number's going to be much higher in a minute. We're going to spawn in a factory. Then we're going to delete the factory. The order on this part doesn't matter. It matters the order in which they're spawned in. And then our building there. And notice we're much higher than where we initially started. We're at 0.5k higher than where we should be. So what's going on is it's storing the last stored. The variable that's being returned is the resources for the last building spawned in. So the resolve to this is fairly simple. Let's go up to where we spawn our building in. So remember, that's on our left click up here. And where we delete our building. So delete preview. So what we're going to do is we need to deal with this return resources pin here. Let's go in here. And we're going to do, instead of construction preview, because this is where it's getting that information from. It's the last construction preview we spawned in. We want to get the building again. We want to get the wood cost. So we're going to get that, and we're going to plug that into there instead. Delete that out. And just put this back where that was. We're going to take our building. We'll Control W, duplicate it, and we'll get our ore cost instead. Now, you can't just get building and plug into there, because that variable, even though they're the same name, is stored in a different location in memory. So Unreal's going to go, these aren't the same thing. You can't plug that into there. Or that variable isn't associated with that class. And plug that into there. There we go. Compile, save. Now, we're not done yet. If we run this, you're going to get an error. The reason why you're going to get the error, if you turn back to our event graph, is what we're doing is we're releasing the occupants, we're destroying the building, and then we're saying, get the resources from the building and return them. Well, we've destroyed the blueprint. We destroyed the class reference we have there. Or sorry, we destroyed the particular building that we're referencing. So it's like, this building doesn't exist. It's been destroyed. I can't find what you're talking about. So what we need to do is we need to remove destroy actor from the first pin, or the then one pin, and put return resources there. And then we need to move destroy actor into that second pin. All right, we hit compile and play now. Spawn in, our barracks first, and then our factory. Then we hit delete on either of these. We get the, I apparently didn't hit delete the second time. We get the right amount back. So again, I want to thank FarEast for finding those two bugs and pointing it out to me. I also like to thank the person who was pointing out in a completely different video the fact that I skipped a step. I honestly didn't realize I was responding to something for a different section of the tutorial, but it applied to what we had currently done. And from this point, we're going to get back to the main stuff we were going to do in this week's lesson. So you'll have my usual welcome to the editor comment in about a second. Thank you very much. See you guys in a little bit. Welcome back to the editor. So we're going to set up a little bit more on our unit harvesting. So let's open up our harvester unit here. And we don't need to start harvesting. What we're going to do is we're going to update part of the event, the end harvest trigger here. Now, we're not going to get the resources to the building quite yet. We're going to do a couple of other things first. We are going to create a new function that will be reduce target resource. Remember, our target resources have a value, amount of resources that's currently there. So we are just going to get our target resource. Actually, we're going to do it by an input. We're going to do target resource. This will be again of our resource master. So get our BP reference. And remember, we have a current resource in there that we do on event construct. So get current resources. And then we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to do a current resources again, but this time as a setter. So set current resources. All right, we're just going to drag this around a tiny bit. It's going to look a little bit messy for a second. Plug the execute pin in from the start. So from the input there into our setter. I'm just gonna, don't do that. We're just gonna move this reroute down here a tiny bit and plug another reroute in. We're gonna want a little bit more room actually. What we're gonna do is we are going to reduce the target resource from the amount we've harvested. So we're gonna right click, actually we're just gonna drag in harvested from here. So get harvested. And we're gonna minus or subtract from our current resources. So whatever the current amount in that particular resource was, the value of what we've harvested. So if we're harvesting 5 units from it, Then we want to reduce our current value, so this is 10, by 5, and update the original value, this 1, now to the result value of 5. So remember, all a variable is a storage location in memory. So we're saying find this storage location, reduce this number from that, or this value from this storage location, and store that resultant value in this initial storage location. I know it sounds really confusing. So, take this value, take something away from it, and then store that result in this original value. All right, then we want a return node. And we're going to plug this output into there. And this will be our current resource. All right, compile and save. Go back to your event graph and drag that new event into here. We're going to plug that into there. We're going to right click and get target resource. So get target resource, plug that into our target resource there. All right, the next step is we need to know, do we need to destroy this target resource? So we're going to create a new function, which will be destroy target resource. So when the resource hits 0, we need to destroy it. If it no longer has any value, if there's something that can be harvested there, we shouldn't have a mesh on screen anymore. So this will be our current resource coming in. So create a new input. It will be of our current, it'll be a float. I don't know why I'm searching for anything. This is just a simple float. And we're going to say, is this float equal to, or less than or equal to 0? And remember, we're using less than and equal to because event ticks, it's looping. It's not a tick, sorry. We're using a loop. It might accidentally pass as 0. If you do exactly equal to, well, if we have a negative number, it's not going to go, I'm equal to 0. It's going to keep running and dropping the number. So we want it to be equal to or less than 0. And then we're going to pass a branch into here. And if it is equal to or less than 0, then what we want it to do is we want it to destroy the actor. So we're going to get our target resource. So just right click, target resource, get it, and then drag off that pane and type in destroy. So we're going to destroy the actor when we hit the value that we're aiming for. And then we're going to have a return node. And before this return node, we're going to have a reroute. Now the reason why we have a reroute is, well, if this value isn't true, we still want to carry through onto the next part. We just don't want to destroy the actor yet. Because the next part's going to be take our harvested amount of resources in our inventory to a silo, for example. We're just going to drag that into there, set it, and then put a couple of reroutes in. There we go. Compile, save. Let's go to our event graph, and we're going to take our destroy resources and just plug them into each other. So we plug the event tick into the execute into the execute, and our current resources into each other like there, or like that. I don't know if it's there. That grammatically made no sense. I apologize. All right. So that should take care of a good chunk of some of the little parts that we need to do. So let's just test this out. Let's spawn in a couple of these units because we might need more than one. Let's put a couple of harvester units onto the map. There we go. Just gonna put 3 on just to make my life a little bit easier. We're gonna do this one at a time though. We're gonna send this unit there. All right, speed that up a tiny bit. Send another unit over to help as well. And then send our 3rd unit over. Okay, now let's go to our graphs here and make sure that all 3 are firing off. So we're going to go to start harvesting. So that's one of them. And that's the other one. And that's the 3rd. So all 3 are indeed harvesting. We can see that it's moving across. They each have some number of inventory in there. Ooh, that one's finished. Let's go back out here. Ooh. See if I can spin myself around in the correct direction. It looks like that tree was too big for them, so let's actually get a couple more units in, make sure this actually works. And what we'll do also is we'll create a breakpoint on this destroy actor. Let's do that. Go back here and add a couple more harvester units in just in case we need them. That should be 30, 35. That's a max inventory of 35 across them. Let's actually just do this one at a time. So we're going to take just one unit, send it to our little tree over there. So start harvesting. Actually speed up the game clock a tiny bit. Send our other unit over. Send our third unit. And our fourth unit. Yes, I'm showing you the long process of debugging this to make sure it actually works. I'm also going to move this unit over this way so I can get to the tree. There we go. Let's make sure that all of them are harvesting. Then go to our start harvesting. So, yep, and it's 3. That's the 5th one I sent in. Okay. Okay, so they're still harvesting. And hopefully in a minute or so, we should have a result from this attempt. Let's go back here. Let's watch the tree. Also make sure that the profiles are loading different profiles. There we go. Oh, we have our first stopped harvest. We go, what's the value? This is currently true. We are less than 0, so we are going to destroy the actor. So if we hit resume, the tree is gone. Now, let's just make sure that the other characters aren't still harvesting. So let's quickly hit pause. And what we want to know is, are these other ones still harvesting? So let's go down to our start harvesting. Nope. Let's actually make sure their inventories aren't 5. That one is. Okay, so we might have a small problem. Let's double check. We need to make sure that they aren't still harvesting a dead tree. So we're going to send units one at a time. Send that unit over. Oh, I missed the tree on that one. There we go. Get to the tree. There we go. I meant to do that for the last one. Send that one to the tree. And send our 4th unit to the tree. If it will move. And there we go. Start harvesting our resources. Speed the clock up. Another thing we need to consider is clearing out our targeted location, so that when we move out of the collision box or the actor is destroyed, the target harvest location, or the targeted resource, is removed from our equation. So we need to take care of that as well. Alright, so I'm going to pause the video and resume on our event break. Alright, so we've hit our first event break. Let's just see if we've destroyed this tree. And we have. Awesome. So we're just going to hit that. Alright, so we have an end early. We have another end early. So it is indeed ending early for our characters. It's checking what it's colliding with, because other trees have spawned in, by the way. So those other trees are in the collision area. There we go. It ended it for the other one. Ending for the other one. So we have had early ends for all of them. I think we're still paused. That we are. So let's go into our harvester unit. Let's go to our start harvesting. And let's check all of our units. Make sure they're no longer harvesting. It's at 5. Lovely. At 5, so it stopped already. That one wasn't harvesting. Probably unit 5 again that was harvesting. So they all actually took 5. We sent them all too soon, but they did get that early end because the first unit that finished ended the harvest for them all. There we go. So it is ending the harvest early. As I said, also, we want to consider when we end the harvest, let's end this, that we clear our target resource. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our event graph. So the first thing we're going to do is just remove this breakpoint here real quick. Now we're going to call the get target resource function from our unit master. We're not going to plug anything in there. That should clear it out. We're going to control W that down here, plug that in, just line it up so it's a bit neater. Now if we run this, we're going to run into an error. It's going to say, well, there's nothing here. So what we want to do then is we want to just add in one more step. We're going to duplicate this this variable. And we're going to do is valid. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong is valid. That's the function. Is valid. We want the one built in with the branch already. And we're going to plug this execute pin into the execute pin there. And if it is valid, we want it to do this. If not, then we don't want it to do anything. So let's test this out, make sure it works. So compile, hit play. And I'm just going to move this down here a little bit. We are going to add one breakpoint here. And, sorry about that. I had scrolled all the way over here. We're going to grab our unit. Let's send it to this tree. There's our breakpoint. Let's make sure it's valid. It is. So let's hit resume. Let's then send our unit away. And now we're going to cross back into that collision box. Is it valid? Let's make sure it isn't. Is not valid. So nothing happens. So if we open our map back up, our unit's just going to be standing there. Let's move it away. And let's close that out. And we don't get an error. Now, there is a small problem with this. We need to actually add one more thing in it. And that is, if we end early, we actually need it to reduce the resource as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to break that real quick. And we're going to grab all of this. And we actually are going to grab this bit as well. We're just going to paste this down. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit paste. We're going to control W this down here. Just drag that out a tiny bit. Yep, I know there's a little bit of overlap there. We can fix that in a second. Grab this get target resource and just plug that into there. I know it looks pretty much the same. We could add an if statement up here. I just like having it separate because of what we'll be adding into this in the next video, which is getting the building information. Now, the reason why we're reducing the resource here is because we are still taking a resource away from the building. We will have to upgrade this later on, but we can't do that yet because we don't have all the components in. The reason why we have to upgrade it later on is we send this unit to this tree. You see there's two trees there. He's currently harvesting from this tree, or she's harvesting from this tree. Now if we send it away, it's clearing the target out. It's no longer harvesting, but it's taking some away. Now, if we send the unit here, however, it's going to harvest from this tree. It's going to fill its inventory to 5 and subtract 5 from this unit as well. So we could end up eating through resources faster than what we really want. But we're going to take care of that after we get the resources to the building. So that said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. We'll do a little bit more on our resource harvesting before we get into building our units. And if you've enjoyed this series, hit that like down below. And it helps get this tutorial out there, and it lets me know I'm bringing you content that you enjoy and appreciate. And if you want to see anything in the series, let me know down in the comments below, or let me know on my Discord server. And as always, I hope to see you in the next tutorial, and make sure to hit that subscribe and notify icon so you know when that next tutorial is out. And I also hope that you have a wonderful day.